Hey guys, welcome to episode 6. That's the intro. There we go.
I don't know whether that'll have caught it. If it did, then people will know I was laughing. If it didn't, then welcome back, guys, to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode 6. We were just questioning which one we were on. Mate, imagine when we're on like episode 70 odd. We'll have to just stop saying this is episode whatever because we'll just forget. But yeah, how are you getting on?
Good, if I'm honest. I thought I was going to be a bit cocky and be like, oh, mate, I'm struggling, but I used that joke last week.
Yeah, don't be rinsing that every week.
No, I can't be. I'll probably save that for about the next couple of weeks. But
when you're actually struggling.
Yeah, when I'm not fat. So, yeah, everything's good. Training's good. Knee is good. I've got physio after this. So, I said to you before we got on, it'd be good to be given the green light to hopefully do some actual effective lower training again. That'd be nice. But other than that, everything seems pretty much spot on. Dissertation's getting handed in today, hopefully. But it's been done for the last few days. But I don't know. So I'm looking forward just to seeing that get submitted. And then I'm officially unemployed, technically, if I was going to say I'm not self-employed. Not out of uni. Just no clients. Lost 3 in the last week. Just got no clients. Nothing. Unemployed. Yeah, massive. Big win. That's the win of the month. It's a win of May. Starting May with a W. That's what it is. But no, all good, mate. What about yourself?
Yeah, Sam, mate. Feeling I was saying to you then when I feel a bit battered. I think a devolume is needed soon. Even just like my appetite and that. Like I don't really use my appetite as an indicator because I eat regardless. Like, and when like clients are like, oh mate, I'm struggling to get food in. I'm like, yeah, like you're in a gaining phase, you're on a lot of food. Like get used to it. But for me, usually like I'm sound. Every meal, I'm like looking forward to it, even though I'm on a decent amount of food now. But over the last few days, that's taken a bit of a hit. And like I said, this morning, I felt a bit out of it. Like usually I wake up and I'm like, right, straight into work, cracking on. And like this morning, it was harder to do that. I still still had to get on with it. But obviously then I scratched my car because I was out of it.
Broke your Apple Watch.
Yeah, broke my Apple Watch straight after. Just a bit of an out of it kind of morning. But I've been sound. I've still got all my work done on that. I think this is like something where, like when we've said a year ago, even 6 months ago, I'd have felt like this and I wouldn't have deloaded for another month or devolume week. I wouldn't have done a devolume week for another however long. Whereas now I'm like, literally, I'll probably see how I am tomorrow because it's upper push, which is sound. Like it's not that much of a demanding session. Then I'll probably devolume on Thursday, which will be legs. Then I'll probably take the Saturday as a devolume and probably the Monday again. And then I'll be sound because that's my 3 most demanding sessions. And then I'll probably be absolutely fine then. And I'll be like, oh, I should have done it a bit sooner. But I've caught it very, very soon this time. Usually I'd be like, oh, let's do another week. Let's do another 2 weeks.
I feel like you devolumed like 3 weeks ago though. Like it was in the intro to the gym show.
We didn't properly though, did we?
No, well, I didn't either way. I said to you, I wasn't too bad.
We said we were going to, but then like we were both like, we feel all right. We only devolumed on movements that we weren't able to properly replicate, which was not really it was like literally 1 or 2 things. It wasn't a lot. So what was it? Like literally seated hamstring curl and adductor, something like that. So we didn't take a proper. I thought that I was like, oh, but we didn't take a devolume. We just said like we'll do it on movements that we haven't been able to replicate.
And to be fair, we did well because we replicated the vast majority.
Yeah. So we were only a couple of exercises on it.
Yeah. So basically, what we can take from this is if everything starts to go to shit in your life, just devolume. You'll be fine. I'm so depressed. Just devolume. Client checks in. Hey mate, I'm just so depressed. Just devolume, bro. You'll be fine.
It's just too much fatigue. You just accumulated too much fatigue.
Mate, how do you train? My depression's that bad.
I just feel a bit like not completely out of it, just slower.
Yeah.
Like just like mentally with my work through the morning. Like this morning, I'll usually get through my Tuesday check-ins by like midday, whereas now like it's 2 and I've just finished. It's just a little bit slower, a little bit more like just struggling, but literally just a case of being a bit battered from training. So I'll be sound over like 3 sessions devolume. Yeah, I'll be sound.
Yeah, I got something actually quite interesting for you about this fatigue management scenario. So, on an Apple Watch, it tracks your heart rate variability, HRV.
Yeah.
Mine's gone up over the last 2 weeks. And the only difference is my dissertation's got to the point where like my stress levels have dropped massively. So like, yeah, I was saying to you, like after training, it was like 8. Like usual reference range is like 50 to 70. Post training, it'd be 7 or 8 as a maximum. And in the morning, it'd be like 30. And I'd be like, no wonder I feel horrendous. But like, it's almost where like I was just accepting. I was like, I'm highly stressed. I was doing a lot. And over the last 2 weeks, it's now back up to like a normal kind of zone. And the only thing that's changed is just less overall stress.
Yeah, it is a lot of stress though. It's one of them, like you'll say, oh, I'm sound, like, and I was the same. Like you do think, oh, it's not that bad. Like when I was at uni and I was like still doing all my PT and that, it's like you just get on with it. Because what's the point in saying, oh, I'm so stressed about it? It just adds to it. It makes it, you're wasting time moaning about being stressed. So like, even though you think, you'll say to yourself, oh, I'm sound, like you're not. You probably had a lot of stress, but you just manage it, don't you? Because you've got to. What else can you do? Like you can't just be like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm going to stop my dissertation.
I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna procrastinate.
You know what you should do? No. You should have just messaged me, hey mate, can't train today. Too stressed because of my dissertation.
Yeah, can't do everything. You know,
can't train today.
Yeah,
get my haircut.
Yeah, get my haircut. That's what it is. Get my haircut. Oh, imagine, like, mate, it's the choice. I wake up and I'm like, oh, do I get my haircut or do I train?
It's one or the other.
Yeah, you can't do both.
No,
you can't do both. You just got to do one. Shocking, but. Yeah, no. Other than that, so what devolume on the cards for you for 3 days following from Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't need to do it. I don't need to do it in tomorrow's session just because it's not that demanding, is it? It's 3 presses and 1 row, which is going to be a chest supported row now anyway.
Yeah, you're taking out the bent row, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do it every other week, aren't I? So that Monday, because of my back's trash today, because my RDL's shit, basically, because my left side is just not able to lock in, and then it feels like I've been stabbed in my back. I'm going to do RDL every other week and bent row every other week on leg pull. So it'll be like, obviously, 1 week bent row, 1 week RDL, and so on. I think that will do me good. Like, and if I can't manage that, then it's literally like, right, I need to stop hinging again and just accept it for now. But yeah, obviously I'll see Aaron next week and just keep him in the loop with it all. But I keep doing obviously all my exercises, my scapular winging exercises. I do my mobility prior to training. I try and free up my thoracic spine doing the foam rolling, which I do think it helps, but I just don't think my back's in a position to be able to recover from a hinge, even just one set of a hinge once a week. Or I can really strip it back and do like couple of sets of like 140 paused and just take it really slow for like higher reps. Not that I'll get
140 for reps. 140 for reps.
Absolute reps, mate.
Yeah, just loads of reps, mate. That's what it is.
You know what I mean? Like there's a few choices, but it's just frustrating because I can't go in and just attack it how I want to. So it is annoying, but it is what it is. There's no point moaning about it. So every other week will be RDL and every other week will be bent row, and then on the Wednesday the upper push dominant, which usually had the bent row in, that will now be the chest supported, the hammer strength low row that they've got. So that's the row that I prefer in warehouse.
Do you think you'll be able to handle 3 pulls a week? Like you'll be doing pulls on Saturday, the Wednesday, Monday?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, hasn't it? Like I've been sound. Like I know obviously only recently have I added that hinge in, but yeah, I think I'll be sound, especially when the pulls are on Saturday and on the Wednesday are all chest supported stuff. Yeah. Like there's no real, the Panata row you could argue maybe is a tiny bit of axial loading, but not really.
Yeah, because you end up standing up.
Because you end up standing up and doing a shrug.
Yeah.
But no, the one row, like it's weird. I almost don't even count. You know the row and the push from my upper pull and push, the one where I just do one movement.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really. I don't count it as like hitting that body part properly. Like although it
destroying
is
that body part.
Like I could.
You just don't destroy it.
I don't destroy it properly. I just don't destroy it enough. I don't want it. Yeah. But I don't class it as like, oh shit, that's another set. I can't, I might not be able to recover from that. Like, because it's 2 sets, and they're generally just to get a bit more volume because I feel like I can get a bit more out of them, but I don't want to have to try and add in a second session. You know what I mean? Yeah. Have a full session on that body part.
Yeah. You just need more growth. You're small and you need more volume.
Just need to destroy the muscle.
Yeah, destroy the muscle.
Can you tell me how?
Yeah, you work the length end to destroy it, then you work the short end just to destroy, and then you just go from there. So you're taxing the point where we're stronger first. It makes perfect sense. That's pretty much what we're going to go
destroy it
for.
from all angles, mate. Why are we doing it? Why are we doing this? Just to destroy it from this angle?
Yeah, destroy, rationale. Hey, coach, why have you given me a hold on contraction right at the end of the session when I'm fucked? Just to destroy it even further. Coach, I can't even hold it for a second. Just to destroy it any further. Catch you next week, bud.
You're obviously not destroying it. You obviously don't want it. See in a bit.
Yeah. See you later. Cancel direct debit. You're not coached by me anymore.
Obviously, you just don't want it.
Do you imagine? You just don't want it enough. And then you get to see an email, cancelled coaching. You're like, fuck. Coach has dropped me.
All right,
but no,
are we doing questions? Well, mate,
sure.
you've sent me a voice note.
Oh, I think I said let me in. Yeah, it's not too bright, mate.
Yeah, that was the joke. But
don't say yeah, don't say that one. Don't say that one. That'll remain private. I don't know. I think I actually refrained from any profanities and that, so that'll be fine. So yeah, getting into the questions a bit early. You can tell we're scraping the bottom of the barrel because there's not too much to report about. Should I state my absolutely fantastic weight loss journey?
Yeah, go on. Let's talk about your prep. Talk about your prep.
Yeah. So it's Tuesday the 4th of May. I started prep Sunday the 25th. I'm stunned. It's actually the 25th as well. I remember that. We are currently from the Saturday prior to that, so the day prior. I'm 5.1 kilos down, which is over 10 pounds, which is quite silly if you think about it. It's just ridiculous, you know. It's due to all the clen in your himbein that's gone in. But no, everything's fine. Lovely to eat less. Session performance is mint. Feeling quite fatigued though from a training standpoint. What are you looking at that about? What's up with my training, mate? What's up with my training? My training's been horrendous. It's been horrendous. I can definitely tell that on a fair few movements, like for example, the flat bench. Like I've rinsed a barbell press now for too long. Too long. But I'm just keeping it in. It will still progress, but it's like I've had a flat press in or a barbell press in from like a low incline or like flat press from the start of the year now. So that's like 5 months of consistent barbell pressing, which is okay, but you can tell it's coming to an end because it's not where you can just, if I go up 2.5 kilos, it's like non-negotiable, I lose a rep. There's never that 2.5 kilos up and oh my God, reps maintained, like 177.5 for 3. I'm going to go for 180 tomorrow and I want 3. And I'll see if I can get 3. I'll be happy with a 3, but it's going to be a challenge. So yeah, training's good, nutrition's good, steps 10,000 consistently. No real changes that have been made. Body weight as of this morning was the same as yesterday, so 107.5. Started, like I said, I was 112.6 the day prior to prep, and I was like 110 on preps on the first day, should we say. So yeah, a fair few kilos have been lost. Everything's good. Shredded already. Finn said to me, and I quote, mate, you could probably be ready in 8 weeks. He said that yesterday. So, I'm technically 8 week. I've got an 8 week out physique. And
most people could be ready in 8 weeks though. Like unless you were morbidly obese, you could probably be ready in 8 weeks just by being very aggressive with it.
Yeah, true. So, 8 weeks out currently. With 21 weeks out till I actually have to
go on stage. Show, aren't we?
Yeah. Looking for an earlier
show. Coach Finn, and what did he say?
We didn't even get my check-in back to me.
He's not got back to you. Yeah, he's too busy. He's got a massive workload.
Yeah, he's had a bad morning, and he messaged me, sent me a voice note like, "Hey, bud, I'm just struggling this morning. It's 2:00, and I haven't finished my check-ins.
No check-ins today.
You have 4 check-ins on a Tuesday. What are you doing?" He's like,
you know what happened, mate? You know what happened? I woke up this morning and I was like, just feel a bit out of it. So I just messaged all my clients and said, "No check-ins today. See you next week."
And then the reason why, he said, "I'm getting a haircut.
I'm too busy. I'm getting a haircut today.
Get my haircut. No check-ins. See you next week." That's what it was.
Mate, I have 11 check-ins today, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't think one person didn't check in. Yeah, won't name and shame them though.
Name and shame her.
Not good enough.
Not good enough. On live. Not good enough. Right. So we'll get into some questions then, mate. We'll just rattle through a few.
Got quite a few.
Yeah, you said that, mate. It's because you're so popular.
No.
Do you want to start off?
All right, mate. I think this might be. Is Toby Warner? Is that one of your clients?
Yeah, he commented on the last podcast. I said to him in his check-in, I was like, I appreciate the comment, even though it's not on my channel.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah, yeah,
commented
yeah. I
saying
see.
like good podcast guys or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toby. What a guy. Carry on.
Is he a young lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just turned 16. You know the lad that showed you his deadlift before?
Yeah. So he said, when and why did both of you start lifting weights? It's quite a good question, that.
Yeah, that is quite a good question. Severe
We ought,
depression,
we ought to go
anxiety.
more into like
Oh,
background, but that's a good
yeah.
one. You can go first.
Oh, I said severe depression and anxiety, but I shouldn't joke about that. We'll carry on. So if I'm honest, it's quite a. I used to always be friends of like people who played rugby, football. I was always sporty, even though I was a bit of a fat child when I was like 12 and 13. And I used to always be the kid who'd like do press ups in there. Like I'd finish a game of Call of Duty and I'd do like as many press ups as I could. And I'd always be like quite obsessed about like, trying to beat numbers of like press ups and stuff. And I'd do it for like a month and then I'd get bored and just sack it off. And I remember one of my mates, Nick. We're not friends anymore, unfortunately. He doesn't like me, but hey ho, I don't really care. He basically asked me. He was playing rugby at like quite a decent level. I remember he was like academy level, or he was like getting scouted for like regional academies or whatever. And I remember he was like, "Oh, my dad wants me to go to the gym. I need to bulk up. I need to bulk up, man. I need to put on some size." He asked if I wanted to go. So I was like, yeah, sound, I'll pop along. And I remember like it was horrendous. The first session I absolutely hated. I remember there was an old dude, I think I told you this before, on the chest press machine. And he was doing like, must have been in his 60s. And he was doing like 35 kilos, I actually remember. And like we were on the treadmill and we all knew because we were like 13, 14, we're like, right, we'll do chest. Everyone's like, we'll do chest and arms. So we hopped on the chest press machine and I remember seeing this old guy thinking, oh, I can easily do this. And I couldn't even move it. And I was like, oh, great. I had to go to 15 kilos. I was well embarrassed. And then we ended up going on the cable, like a high to low like cable flight. Some dude came up to us, asked us to get off the machine. He said he'd showed us proper form, and then just carried on himself. So we were like, sound, cheers, mate, thanks for that. And then Nick ended up sacking it off after probably, he carried on, but it was like, the stop-start goes 3 times a week, then stops, then starts again. And then I just kind of kept it fairly consistent. My granddad used to drop me off at the gym. He was always incredibly like he'd come up to me like it was a summer holiday when I first started properly training. It was the transition from year 9 to year 10, so I think you're like 13 maybe 14. And I remember like he'd say to me like, oh, you going to the gym today? Because he dropped me off. And I said to him a few times like if I was battered I was like, no, I'm having a rest day. And he'd just say to me like straight like, what are you going to do other than go to the gym? And I was just like, well, there's nothing I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit inside and play FIFA or do nothing. So I pretty much went like every day over the summer. And then I'm not going to say once you start seeing results, you get addicted, but you do kind of like that sense of progression. So I just kept it consistent following that. But that was mine. It wasn't really that interesting, if I'm honest. It's just a guy wanted me to train and I enjoyed it. But I hated the first couple of weeks, if I'm honest. Thought it was wank. What about yourself?
So that was, how old were you? 13?
Yeah, 13, I think.
Okay. So there was a gym that opened near us back at school. Do you know Frankie Wah?
No.
So Frankie Wah now is a DJ, very famous DJ now, and it's his gym. It's called Luke's Doors. He lived in my village growing up. Yeah. You would know if I played you some song, you'd be like, oh, sick. Like, yeah. So anyway, that's irrelevant, but it was his gym. And one of my mates, Bry.
Yeah.
So Bry was like the one that started like the earliest before anyone. And then we were all like sort of got into it with him. And this is probably about like 14, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I trained for maybe like a month, 2 months. And then I couldn't afford a gym membership because I was 14. I didn't have a job or anything. I had no clients. All my clients left me. I was only 14. So
not much has changed, to be fair.
I couldn't keep on top of it. And it was like 5 to 10 minute drive away from where I lived as well. So it was a bit of a hassle. I'd go after school, but then my mum would pick me up and sometimes it'd be hard because she'd be working or whatever. So it just didn't really work out and carry on. And to be fair, I was like, same as you, I didn't enjoy it that much. So it wasn't like, oh, I really want to carry on. It was just like, oh, like it's a bit of a shame, but I'll just stop training. It's not an issue. And then I got into it properly like when I had a year out. So I had a year out between college and uni. So I was 18, 19.
Yeah.
That's when I got into it properly. I think I'd say, you know, when people are like, oh, why did you get into it? Like, initially, because I was like really small, I was like 4 foot when I was a kid. Like, all my mates were like growth spurts way before me. So partly that, and I was like really skinny as well. And like my mates used to chuck me about in the pool and that. When we would go on holidays, like I'd be the one that they'd just bully about.
Did you like
Because,
that?
because
You're like,
I loved it, mate. Yeah,
cheers, lads. Thanks for
I've
throwing
got
me
a
about.
fetish about it now. So yeah, they treated me with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like that partly. And I would have never thought that. At the time, I was never like, oh, this is fucking annoying. Like, I want to get big and strong. I never thought that at all. But I think probably subconsciously, that is why I was like, right, I want to get bigger. I think probably that is why. So yeah, partly that. But then also I was like playing football at a decent level. And then when I went to uni, it was like I just lost my love for it, because it was like it was getting too serious and there wasn't really enough reward for it. It was getting to the point where just the enjoyment was lost in football. So it was like, right, I'll just stop playing football and I'll put all my time into training. And that's what I did when I started uni. So to be fair, even slightly before uni, I was still playing football, but I was pretty consistent with it then. Like, I was pretty much nailing things then. But then when I moved to uni, that's when I was properly like on it, especially nutrition wise. I remember I used to spend like any of my free time literally researching what foods had what in it, how to do certain movements, what every exercise was, what the movement patterns were, like muscle insertions, origins, like anatomy. I used to spend all my free time learning shit like that, which stood me in good stead for my PT course, because then it was like, oh, I kind of know pretty much everything going into the PT course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that was why, really. Like, there was never a huge, at the time, you never think I'm going to start lifting weights because X, Y, Z. Like, you just start, don't you? And then if you don't stop, you generally get to the point where you're like, oh shit, I've put on a decent amount of muscle and I actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
There's not much of a thought process.
No, and then you just carry on because you enjoy it. You don't need to then be thinking, why am I doing it? Like, you just do it because it's kind of what you do. It's like saying, oh, why do I get up and brush my teeth and stuff like that? It's like you make it a habit once you've done it however many times. Like, training for us, like, we never say, oh, don't feel like training today, or
No.
I don't think I can make it, I'm a bit tired. Like, it's just the norm. We train on our training days, we rest on the rest days.
Yeah.
Get haircuts on training days.
You can't train. That's what it is. Yeah. No, I think that's fair enough. I'm not too sure. Maybe like, because Toby's he's a young lad, isn't he? So maybe like he was, I don't know, he's more in a social media age where like it's quite a cool thing to do, you know, to train and be strong.
When we started, it wasn't really don't get me wrong, it was still popular, but not like it is now.
Oh no, I remember like kids and stuff, they were proper like, I wouldn't say like against what I was doing, but it was before Instagram was popular for training. So like if I was putting up clips of me training, it would almost be like, people would be like, why are you putting this up? You know,
people still think like that though. People who aren't in the circle still think like that.
True.
People will still take the piss out of people for posting about training and whatever. Like, just the world we live in, mate. Like, people would rather take the piss out of someone for trying to better themselves than going to the pub. Like, it's more socially acceptable to go to the pub on a Saturday night than it is to go and train,
or to get a haircut on a training day.
Yeah, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, no, it's just unbelievable, mate. Yeah,
right.
But no, that's a good question from Toby.
Go on then. You'll go.
All right, sound. I'll get one up. Let's have a look. Jack, pardon, Jack. Pardon, Jack. Right, so differences.
He loved that last time.
Yeah, I know he did. To be fair, and Harvey,
and he's been been playing with Nemanja Vidic as well as Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything's fine. So, pardon has asked differences between a diet break and a refeed. How to decide which to implement?
Pardon, mate.
Differences between
difference between a diet break and a refeed.
Yes.
So generally, a refeed would be like, how I work it anyway, would be like a 2-day period where you would generally have it. It wouldn't be every week, but generally when I'll start adding them in, it will be relatively often. Like, it will probably be like, you'll have them most weeks, and then if there's a week where you feel like you probably don't need it, you won't have it. But a refeed would be generally 2 back-to-back days of higher carbs, lower protein and fats. Protein and fats generally as low as you'd want to take them, and really prioritizing carbs, just to sort of try and aid generally in a fat loss phase. Refeeds tend to work really, really well when someone's in, especially in quite a long-term fat loss phase, or in a prep when you're trying to make sure that you're staying relatively full and maintaining performance. But they work really, really well in long-term fat loss phases because it gives people that sort of out on a couple of days a week where they think, right, I'm not going to be digging, and I actually get a bit more food.
Yeah.
And that then helps in terms of performance and carries over until the rest of the week. That's what I try and say with my clients. I'm like, imagine this extra food now, it's filling you up and it's sort of kicking you on for the rest of the week to then dig hard, and then you get to fill up again. Yeah. So that is kind of
going up and then coming down.
Yeah. So that's kind of what a refeed would be. A diet break, I would generally class as a longer period of time where, let's say, maybe even longer. Like sometimes if again, in a really long-term fat loss phase, one scenario where I think diet breaks work really well is, again, long, like let's say an obese client, long-term fat loss, where they've been digging even with refeeds for, let's say, months. Yeah, and they're 50, 60 pounds down, but it's still hard and there's still a lot of weight to come off. I think then diet breaks work pretty well every now and again to just have almost like take your foot off the gas a little bit, sort of hold body weight. You're not going like way above, you're not going into a surplus, you're just staying at maintenance basically, holding there, basically getting sort of generally getting the client to feel in a better position, or individually if you're doing it for yourself, getting to feel better energy wise and then be able to kick on further. That is kind of what I'd say for a diet break, and quite almost similar to a refeed, I guess, but just longer and you're not going to be consuming as many calories as you would on a refeed. For example, like a refeed, you might have crazy high carbs for 2 days. A diet break, you're not going to be doing that every day for a week or more.
Yeah, no, agreed. And then when it comes to how to decide which to implement, I think I know you didn't really touch on that, but it's more so where you are in your current phase.
Kind of covered it, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I think it would depend. I think the vast majority, like especially when it comes just to like tidy up phases, mini cuts, so on and so forth, you definitely don't need a diet break. And a refeed, I'd argue, unless it's like 10 plus weeks, you're probably not going to get much benefit. Like you've been in a surplus for X amount of months. Do you really need to fill back up after 6 weeks of dieting? I don't think so. You'd be fine. I'd rather be in and out, bro, as soon as you like. So yeah, I think on a long-term basis, I think there's merit to both. But I think it's very dependent on where you're at that current stage. And that's why I'm not going to be saying you should get a coach to tell you, but in reality, for second eye and someone else saying this is probably what's best. It's better than you auto-regulating it and being like, I need to do this. When in reality, it might not help be too conclusive towards your end goal.
I think like as a general rule of thumb, they probably both, like, I wouldn't say they only relate to a prep or a long-term fat loss phase, but that is probably when they're most relevant. Like in a mini cut, or in, let's say, just a normal diet phase where you're getting in shape for a holiday, 12 weeks or whatever it might be. Like you're not really going to need a diet break. You might utilize refeeds, but you probably, again, you're not going to need to. They're more so relevant to being in a prep or someone who's a long-term fat loss, or you got a lot of weight to come off.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Right,
I go
up next. Yes, you're
ready. Not ready.
I know.
Okay. I'm trying to check just to see if there's any, because I said I'll answer those on my story, so I know we haven't got long. I'm seeing if there's any that me and you relate to.
Okay, sound. Do you want me to go ahead, or if you got
one? I guess. No.
Okay, go for it.
Will you be competing in WNBF? So
me.
That's, well, this is me and, well, me. He actually asked me, but I'm giving it to you as well. So WNBF is the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation. Have you seen that? That's now, there's a UK version of it now because of obviously what the UK DFBA changing partners. Yeah. So will you be competing in that, mate?
No, will not. Just don't want to.
I think I will.
Yeah.
Not this year, obviously. It'll be good to see this year how it's all, how the shows run and how it all goes ahead. But yeah, I definitely think I would. Generally, the more opportunities there are in natural bodybuilding, I think the better. I don't like the whole competitiveness between federations. I think it's petty, and I don't like the whole politics of it. I get it because it's understandable, but I don't like that. I think you should compete in generally all the federations that you have the chance to, and especially if you're prepping for a year. Like, that is one thing that was annoying last year, is that obviously with COVID and everything, I only got one show. Like, for that amount of time, don't get me wrong, that's not the whole point of it. It's not like, oh, I prepped just for one show. But it would have been nice to be able to do 3 or 4 shows with different federations and experience that. So I think when I next compete, obviously if COVID isn't still about, or there's not something else that gets in the way, I'll definitely be doing more than just one show. But yeah,
we both agree then Pure Elite is the best.
Yeah,
Pure Elite.
I'm gonna do Miami Pro. I just need to get my suit tailored, and I'll be sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, But no, I think definitely, because it does look good. But I'll see how it all goes ahead this year with it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I won't be. I'm not natty. So yeah, there we go. That answers the question. I am technically, but not yet.
You got any more? You said it.
Yeah, not now. Shit, sorry. Right. It seems to be the same kind of people that ask questions, but they're the ones who ask the good questions. So it's quite annoying because Pardon asked last week, and now Niall's client Paul has asked another question. I should just say Paul. I don't need to say Niall's client. When would you introduce RP and drop sets to training? So intensifiers.
RP, mate.
Yeah, Reece Pearson. That's it.
Oh yeah.
When would you introduce me as your personal trainer / online coach you sacked? You didn't even decide to hire.
Into like a sales pitch.
I'd be like, you should introduce me when your training has subsided to the degrees that you want.
All right, so when would you add in a rest pause, or what was the other one?
Drop set to training. So I think you could probably answer this in 5 seconds, when the ability to maximize mechanical tension's probably dwindled slightly and you're just trying to increase the intensity towards the latter end from a metabolite focus.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I wouldn't go down the mechanical tension route so much. Like, it does make sense.
No, I just think if you're doing a push session,
trying to extend in terms of rest pause, I think you'll see it all the time with form videos. Like, it winds me up so much. It's like they'll do a rest pause, but they're not anywhere near failure, so they just stop and then they wait a bit and go again and stop and then wait, and it's like, well, you've done like three mini sets all miles away from failure. You're not really going to be eliciting like a hypertrophic response from any of that. No. So that annoys me. But yeah, I think in terms of a rest pause, like, you're trying to implement it to get as many effective reps out of a set as possible.
Yeah.
So like, if you're doing, like, say, a bicep curl as a rest pause and you get 12 reps, like, the last 2 or 3 are probably going to be those effective reps. If you think about it on any set, the first, let's say 60-70% of a set is relatively easy, isn't it? Last few reps, last however many percent is what's going to be pretty challenging, that you might class as effective reps. So then you basically, as a rest pause, you're just getting more of those. Likewise with a drop set, really, you're just extending the set to get, like, say, more metabolic stress and get more out of it.
Yeah. No, agreed. So yeah, spot on.
So just start adding it into, your deadlifts, your barbell back squat.
Imagine a deadlift rest pause. Mate, imagine a deadlift, like 20 seconds, you go. Like 20 seconds, go again. Another. No, mate, imagine, an RDL rest pause. ISO hold at top. So what you do, you do an RDL. Yeah, you do a 20-second ISO at the top. Farmer's carry or whatever, dead hand.
Yeah, you have to walk around with it.
Yeah, you have to walk around.
Not allowed any collars on the
end. You end up, so you're at Ultraflex Rotherham, you're in one of the racks, you start walking, you end up in the dumbbells, and you're like, 20's gone, go! Right, straight in.
One side of the bar's twatting the cable machine.
Oh, that'd be class, mate. Deadlift, RDL rest pause. Oh my god, I think you'd end up.
We didn't even cover that though. I know we said at the end of the session, but yeah, don't.
Oh, when would you? They're
not good to utilize on larger compound movements. You'd want to generally be doing them on. You could do them on some compounds, like some pressing, for example, but you generally want to be doing them on isolation movements towards the end of sessions, I would say.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think if it was, I'm going to take when, and I'm going to be a bit literal. And I'd say they're not essential, but they're something that you can add in. Like, I'd say when I was training in Leeds, I had 0 intensifiers for the first 3 months. And it was almost me breaking it down and thinking about, what can I get away with? What can I put in? And I almost learned. So I'm guessing Paul, because by the sounds of things, he seems like he's pretty spot on. I'd be saying, obviously it would depend on what Niall's given him, but rest pauses would be needed at a certain stage, but they're not needed. To be fair, you could even argue they're not needed at all, but there's just something you can add in for a little bit more focus from a metabolite stress standpoint.
Time efficiency is a big one. Like, if you look at the end of our sessions, we might get through 4 or 5 movements in the space of 20 minutes, half an hour. It's like a bicep movement, a side delt movement, a tricep movement, an ab movement. If you were going to try and do 2 or 3 sets on all of those, you're going to be there for over an hour when you've already absolutely trashed from your session.
Yeah.
So like from a time efficiency standpoint, it makes sense to add them in later on. So like, for example, yesterday, I do, after legs, I do 1 bicep movement with a drop set. I do calves as a rest pause. I do side delts as a drop set, and I do abs as a rest pause within 20 minutes. So I'm just getting...
No, I was going to say, and therefore you can fit your haircut in afterwards.
Yeah.
So fine. Oh, God.
But no, then like you're able to actually still, especially on smaller body parts, you're able to hit them more frequently without it feeling like it's so much added onto sessions.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Is it me?
Yes, it is you.
Okay. Would you coach someone who may be in the same show as you? This is Luke Brettel.
Luke Brettel. I think he trains at Ultraflex Rotherham, I think. He's asked me a few questions about, and like the enhancement side of things. I remember. Yeah.
Would you coach someone who's in the same show as you? Who may be in the same show as you?
Yeah.
Of course you would. Just make
you would.
Absolute shit, and you sort
It'll be like, yo, bro. Like, they'll be 20 weeks out.
Mate, I'm absolutely... mate, I'm not ready. Mate, you're ready. You're ready.
Mate, you're ready. I don't know what, mate. You're ready. Your glutes are like, they're striated. You're like, coach, I have a layer of fat all over. Yeah, like, coach, why have you got my calories 6 weeks out? And I'm like, mate, you're losing fat too much of the rate of loss is just too fast.
Reversing out.
Ready. Yeah, but we need to fill you out. But mate, I'm not even lean. No, imagine. I think it would be. I wouldn't want to do it, if I'm honest, if it was the client's main show. But if it was like the same kind of thing, I don't know why you wouldn't. I don't know.
100% would. You wouldn't even treat it any differently, because you wouldn't even be thinking of it like that.
No, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't
be thinking like every week when you're making adjustments or when you're looking at their posing. You wouldn't be thinking, "Oh, I'm against this guy." You'd just be seeing it as a client, and then on the day you'd be like, "Oh shit, yeah, like I'm competing with you." Like it wouldn't be. I don't think you'd see it any differently.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it would be. It'd be quite cool as well. It'd be a good little project. Like if you had a client and you were doing the same show, same class, that'd be quite mint.
It would be cool.
So, yeah, you wouldn't be like, you can't do this show, mate. You can't do it.
No.
I think you
sacrifice. You'd both, if they wanted to do the same show or you wanted to do the same show, then you'd do the same show.
Yeah, so be it. You'd support them. You wouldn't be like, well, I'm not going to prep you for it.
Yeah, it'd be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He asked another one, so I might as well do that as well. What are you doing?
The light gets knocked off every fucking minute.
So he also asked, is it normal to not see weight drops after a training day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, we'll move on. Great answer.
Yeah. No, there we go. There we go. I'm this fucking...
I would say, like, obviously, if you're in a deficit, like, first of all, make sure that you are, if you're searching for weight drops, I'm assuming you're dieting and you're going, well, after training days, I seem to gain weight or hold weight. If that's the case, then obviously make sure you are actually in a deficit. But then I would also say, look at your nutrient timing. Is your post-workout meal quite a large meal? Are you eating that quite close to bedtime? Probably more so if you're training in the evening. Fluid intake on training day is probably going to be a little bit higher because you're training and you're going to be slightly more dehydrated from training, so replenishing fluid, things like that. Also inflammation from training as well. So you would generally see, for myself it's different, but I always weigh in like heavier after rest days, even though my food is a lot lower. But for 90% of people and for most of my clients, you'll see that after training days, more often than not, there is a slight increase or a hold, unless you're in like a severe deficit.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, food volume as well is always going to be higher because you'll have I say always, but it should be if your calories are up. So that definitely can play a role as well, more food just going through your system. So yeah, I think it depends. It's been interesting. I've been lighter after training days and I've been heavier after non-training days, which is like the first time in a diet that's really ever been prevalent for me. But my food's quite high, so it doesn't really surprise me on non-training days because there's a lot of food to just be doing 10,000 steps. So
do you know why that is?
Why?
Because you've not been nailing nutrient timing.
Haven't I?
You told me you haven't.
Mate, I've literally been having meal 4, 5, and 6 within 30 minutes of each other. Is that fine?
That's all right.
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah,
The previous coach told me to do that. and I'm intermittent fasting till 4 p.m. and I'm having 3 meals as a shake meal, and I'm literally, mate, my digestion's appalling. It comes straight out of me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, man. Help me.
I was going to say, did your previous coach tell you to drink or eat your oats in 12 seconds?
Yeah, mate. He said to me how busy I am. I just need to get through my meals so quickly. So basically, yeah, I have a cream of rice, 130 grams of cream of rice. It's down in less than a minute.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it comes 60 grams come back up.
Comes out straight after.
Yeah, 60 grams comes straight out. But hey, I still get a decent amount that stays in.
Half
70 grams.
Half of it got somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that'll play a role. No, that'll be all right. Right, my question.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see if we've got any others. Carb supplement as intra-workout benefits from Will Hughes Fit. Will Hughes is either Watford CDM.
Play for Watford centre mid.
Yeah, he's
hired and he's created a fitness page.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if he can
asking about
supplementing an intra-workout. Mate, you're going to see him next match day sipping. He'll be like, "Oh, there's his intra." There we go. I told him that.
Post game interview. Well, I was listening to Once You're In, You're In, and they were telling me about intra-workout carb, and I've gone and scored 8 goals in a game.
I haven't even scored 8 goals in my career, but to be fair, no, I think he's got a decent ping on him.
He's good.
You know?
Right, so intra-workout carbs.
Yeah. So should we break them down? Should we say what intra-workout carbs are like, which ones are available? So we have dextrose, we have highly branched cyclodextrin. There's multiple different kinds. They're going to digest to a slight better degree. Like a highly branched cyclodextrin is usually going to be better for the vast majority, but it's a lot more expensive. So I would say I always say to clients, like, try out dextrose. If it doesn't digest well and you feel bloated while you're training, try not. Maybe just go for
maltodextrin is cheap.
And yeah, it is cheap.
Highly branched cyclic dextrin is just a different form. It's basically a refined version of maltodextrin. The osmolarity is slightly higher, so you can basically pass it through your digestive tract a little bit easier. You can uptake the food a little bit easier. Yeah. But I would I generally will say to clients, especially when they're like, "Oh God, it's quite expensive, isn't it?" I'm like, "Just get maltodextrin." It's that. But yeah, benefits. Obviously, you're getting some form of energy during the session, some form of glucose coming into the system. The reason, obviously, that don't get me wrong, you could eat food, like you could have a banana, or see some people having like Haribos or whatever during training. Like you could do that, but then you're going to be generally in a position where your body's having to pump more blood to the digestive system when we're training, which isn't what we want. So we want to have something that passes through as easily as possible so that we can focus on training and pumping blood to the desired muscles that we're training, rather than pumping blood to our stomach, basically.
In a sick pump, bro.
Yeah, not in the belly. We don't want a sick belly pump.
No, bro. No, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
Nah.
Is that, have we covered that?
Yeah, I think so. So
I think a lot of time when people say, "Oh, I'm dying out in the session," or "I feel tired towards the end," like, one, you should do, because you should be training hard. But two, like, I'll say, "Oh, well, are you utilizing intra workout?" No. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to be fair, even if your training is quite short and if your pre and post workout meal are quite close together, I still think you would benefit from an intra workout carb. You might not necessarily need an EAA, but I do think you would still benefit from an intra workout carb.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree completely. I think there's merit to having it, and I usually say, on the supplement guide, I will usually say to initiate, I'm like, if you're noticing towards the latter end of sessions that like your performance is starting to diminish, obviously that's expected. It's not where like, "Hey mate, I just flat bench the same at the end of the session in comparison to the start because I've now had 30 grams of HBCD." But in reality, it will help definitely. Yeah. And then I think there's going to be a bit of a benefit from a recovery process, but it's a bit bro sciencey if we're being too literal. But I don't mind it too. But I like an intra workout. I like carbohydrate source. I currently have 30 grams. I think as food gets progressively higher, if you can digest it well, it can be pushed up to 75, maybe 100. I think me and you have both had 100 grams in our intra workout before when food's been high. I don't really like it that much. I've gone up to 75 before. The highest I got on the gainer phase was 50.
Say if you're on crazy high food and like you're really struggling, then but you don't need it to be that high. No. Like, you're not really going to benefit from having 100 over 30. No. But if you're on crazy high food, it is an easy way to get it in, isn't it?
Yeah, no, makes sense. Makes
What does
sense.
it
So,
make?
yes, it's you. Go for it, sir.
How long we got? You need to go off. You need to get going.
Yeah, I'll enter it in on maps. I've got about 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay. When reversing out of a diet, what indications do we look for? What do we look for so we know to increase calories? Tailored by Tom, this guy. When reversing out of a diet, what indications do we look for so we know when to increase calories?
It's challenging because there's a lot of things you look for. In general, body weight, how the visual look, how your training performance is going would be the three that would spring to mind. It's going to be very dependent on each individual person and what's the rate of gain that you're after, what kind of, let's say, process you're trying to get back up to. Are you refilling from like potential glycogen loss through the diet? So, for example, if you're coming out and you initially bump carbs up by, let's just say 50 or something, you're going to probably have quite an acute response to body weight, like a spike where it comes up and then it might start to drop back down. So it's almost a sense where you don't want to play around with it for too long, but then at the same time, you don't want to rush it. So it's almost that finding that right balance between pushing food up and getting the response that you want, and then at the same time, almost keeping food, I'm not going to say at the same level, but you don't want just to push up and then they turn out that they're 4 kilos up, 5 kilos up within a week or two. So it's almost about finding that perfect balance. But without appropriate data and context tailored by Tom, I just can't give you a detailed response. So coaching slots available if you're interested, mate.
I would say the easiest thing to think about, the easiest factor is body weight. Like if your body weight is going backwards or holding, push food up. Like I always say, like if you can get away with more food, then get away and eat more food. Like if you, like for example, like now when I'm in a gaining phase, if I had a week where I lost a pound, like I wouldn't be like, to be fair, this is relevant. This is dependent on how accurate you are, because some people might lose a pound because they've not eaten. Whereas like for someone who is hitting every variable the same every day, if I was to randomly lose a pound, then it's as simple as, right, the current food that I'm on is no longer a surplus, so I need more food. And that's the same now in the gaining phase for however long, or reversing out of a diet. All that you would say coming out of a diet is that you can be more aggressive initially, especially if you've got lean enough. Usually when you've got someone lean enough in a diet phase, their body is very, very responsive, because being that lean, you generally can uptake food very, very well. So when you could even, like I've had clients where I'll put 200 carbs plus coming straight out of a diet phase, and they still lose weight the week after. Yeah. But then I wouldn't look at it and go, oh well, we've increased food a lot, so we can't push more. Yeah. You just push more.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, photos, definitely relevant, because you wouldn't want to be doing that and then the photos just getting worse and worse, but being like, oh, it's all right, just push more food. But generally, body weight and the visuals, especially coming out of a diet, they are very, very sort of, there's a big correlation. If body weight is still holding or going down when they're eating more food and training's going well, then they always look better. Yeah. So if body weight is holding or going backwards when you're trying to push up, that's when you really want to focus on pushing food.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think that the period post diet is always like, good. I find it really fun. I find it really fun to be messing around with it. Like, if you nail it and you've got a client who adheres like perfectly, you can have such a good response.
Up and up and up and up.
Like I've got a client called Elliot. Sam Garner's cousin. Yeah. And he started at 103 kilos, pulled him down to like 86. And we only started on like 300 carb training days because his food was at an absolute minimum. So we like pulled him down. I think it was like a 15 week diet. And then we reversed him back out. And he's now like, I think he's in the low 90s. I think he's back up to like 90, 91. But his food is like, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's like doubled what we started on. So he's on like 600 plus carbs now on training days. I think it's like 575 if I'm not mistaken, actually. So his food's higher than when it started. His body weight's like 14 kilos down total. And he's leaner and he looks so much better than when he was at 86, 87, because he's just fuller. His performance is so much better. And that's just from him pretty much sticking to it to a T. And that's almost what you got to find. So it's a challenge, because some people you can put food in and their body weight doesn't respond. Tim Stewart Fitness, his body weight's been going down for the last 4 weeks, and he's saying need more food. More food is needed, bro. Bump it up. Eat more. That's what it's about.
No, like we were saying, generally, like you say, a lot of it is being accurate, but also a lot of it is your training intensity. The people who, if you go and diet someone down to the point where they're quite lean, you add in 50 carb and then they start gaining loads of weight.
Yeah.
Like, well, one, are you actually adhering? And then two, if you can't add 50 carbs and actually utilize that food, especially when you've got lean, like, there's something that's probably not right there. It's either that you're being inaccurate, either knowingly or not knowingly, or you've all of a sudden become really slack in terms of your expenditure or whatever it may be. But more often than not, it's training intensity. People that train the hardest are the people that eat the most. Like, see it over and over and over again. Simple as that. Like, it is literally that simple. I think people are like, oh, why I want to eat more food. It's like, well, train harder then.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, obviously expenditure comes into it massively. And if you've got a sedentary job compared to someone who's a PT, let's say, you're going to struggle to eat as much, but still, you could get on a lot more food just by training hard.
Yeah, agreed. Right, we'll finish off. Do you have any other questions, or do you want me to go through my last? I have a few more. But
I've got a few more. I'll answer them on my story, mate. It's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll finish on this unless there's a good one. From the main man, Conran B Fitness, the Evo warrior now, mate. That's why he's training there every session, needing a new meso every single time he goes. Hey, mate, can I get some new training sessions for me, please? I'm like, oh, great. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Right, he's gone. First question. I'll answer this. Do you know anyone you're competing against? If so, no, who? I'm not too sure. No one's turning up. People have known that I'm competing. They're like, I'm not competing against him. I heard Ryan Terry was thinking about competing against me, mate. And now he's like, I don't want to compete against him. Can't. So, yeah, no, I'm joking. I don't know anybody. It'll be interesting to see who turns up. I imagine the quality of the second show will be high. First show, maybe. We'll see. But no, then the second question he's asked, and this is a good one. Do you have one specific song for big lifts, or does it vary? What a question.
I've got a new one now.
Yeah, you've been cheating on it, mate. We've been cheating on the song. We rinsed the same song for every single one of our top sets for like a good 3-month period during lockdown, and it was The Weekend Prisoner. And this was a find of mine about a year ago. And I remember it came on and I was like, this is a good top set song. It just came on shuffle. And then you listen to it and you're like, yeah, it's good. You playing it? Mate, you're going to get copyrighted on YouTube.
Don't put it on. It's that song.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. Should we sing it? Should we do a rendition?
Does that all the way through?
Yeah, we'll just give the whole song. We'll be like, oh, mate, we nailed that. Everyone now knows what song
it turns into a singing podcast.
Yeah, so that was the song that we rinsed out the entirety of the lockdown.
I wouldn't say that it was the only one, though.
No, but it was the most prevalent. It was the one that we used the most. That was the song number one listens, should we say, when it comes to top set songs. But for me, I'll carry on and say what I listen to. I think it depends massively on the lift and what I want from it, if I'm honest. Which sounds like if I was to say that to me at 16, I'd be like, you absolute weapon. What like a lift is a lift, bro. But in reality, I'm wanting some level of emotional response. So I want something to trigger me emotionally, whether like from a positive factor or a negative factor. So there's a lot of songs that have no relevance to training and I'll listen to and I'm like, oh, I like that line or I like that beat or something. And I almost just ride with that and I just rinse it in my mind over and over and over again. This depends. Like that would only be performed on like an RDO. I'll only be doing that on like a main movement that I can attack. On a press, it's kind of
at the end of the session.
Rear delts. Yeah, I'm like, hey mate, can I change the song? I need to change the song for rear delts. I need to get so amped up. But there's a fair few, but we don't have a playlist. We never had a playlist. It was just like, it was my saved songs and we just have a look through and go, okay, I'm feeling that song today.
I think it's something that people overthink way too much.
Yeah.
Like I get asked it quite a lot. You see it like people create playlists all the time on Spotify, like, oh, listen to this from like top sets, like, which is great. And if people find the benefit from that, amazing. But I think it is something that people overthink. They almost think that, oh, I need the perfect song to perform the perfect set.
Yeah.
If you need a song to perform a perfect set, like, I would argue that you're like mentally, that's not good. You know what I mean? If you're thinking like, right, I can't perform this without this song on, or I need these songs to get me amped up. They can help, definitely. But I don't think you should rely on it or think about it as much as people do. Because people obsess about it, like as if it's if it's the difference in gaining muscle. Like, yeah.
So, yeah, what would be your go-to now, mate? You said you got a new song. Is it your sister
My
singing?
sister's song, yeah.
Yeah. Is this Lara?
Yeah, my sister, for anyone who, well, people won't know that, obviously, that she does like, well, she sings, but then she does screamo as well. So, like, like screamo rock music. And it's actually, that song's good, isn't it? That I played you.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's got like a proper good drop where she like screams. It's a what is it? What's the cover? Can't remember what it's called. Heartbeat by Skrillex and someone else. It's a cover of that, but it's fucking mint.
Yeah.
So I've been using that, haven't I? At the minute, it's good, and it's pretty cool. Thinking that's my sister screaming in my ear when I go into an RDL.
Yeah, saying your back's shit. Just think about how shit your back's going to be on stage.
Mate, I ought to do that. I ought to tell her, can you do a designer like a screamo song, personalised one for me? Get her to do one for you.
What, my execution's wank?
Thinking about your weak body parts on stage.
My pressing depth is horrendous. That's what it would be. Your pressing depth's horrendous. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so let's fucking go, bro. Not even on a press. Let's attack this set.
Mate, just think about those quads on stage. Just think about those quads.
All that was running through my mind on my morning steps was, God, my calves better not be shit on stage after all this uphill walking I'm doing. God, I was going up every step like, yes, one step closer to the stage.
So motivated.
Yeah, I just can't wait. I just can't wait for prep. I just can't wait.
You just want it so much.
Just wanted it so much today. I hit everything just to a T. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Is there a question that you want to end on from your end? Or are we good?
Mate, wrap it up. You got to go.
Spot on. Right, before I get, I have to pay Aaron for, like, I couldn't afford to miss a shockwave therapy session because they're so expensive in relation. So if I was to turn up late and he was like, Reece, you've lost it, I'd just be like, right, that's it. Can't afford it, mate. See you later. So yeah, for my own benefit, we'll be ending the podcast. I want to say early. This has been probably about an hour?
I think it's been another about an hour. Yeah. It's good.
So that's everything. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. We'll leave the usual outro. I appreciate all the story tags and the fantastic amount of mentions. It probably helps the podcast, I'd say, more than I'm not going to say that we realise, but more than individuals realise, because people might actually see it and they'll go, oh, I might listen to that. So for no benefit other than the metrics of Finn's YouTube, please tag us. But no, other than that, everything's, hopefully everyone that's listened has enjoyed. If there's any things you want to see, feel free. Basically every Tuesday, I think we'll try and get into a routine of Tuesdays, and we'll put up a question box on our story. So if there's any questions you guys want to get answered live on air, feel free to send it over. But other than that, I think that is episode 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Probably the last time we're going to say the number. I think we'll just say that's the
get out of that habit.
Yeah, so yeah. Other than that, I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you later.